But now let's talk with Joan Chittister. Joan, it's wonderful to have you back. You always give me so much to think about, and I'm going to that sort of most practical example where many people wonder, you know, should I go with compassion or compassion fatigue? You're walking down the street and person after person asks you for money. And there's some folks who will stop and give to every person who asks. Others who will say, you know, I'm not going to give to those people, but I'm going to give to an organization that works to end homelessness. Some of us find ourselves sort of in the middle. One day we're given money wondering, is it going to go for drugs? Is it going to help the person with food? Where's the compassionate response in that messy area?
Well, in the first place, don't make false alternatives. Where you are that day is what counts. And if the money in your pocket is yourself not available for that, or you doubt, or you're not sure, then you give that money to the organization that is taking care of street people on Chicago streets. They have choices to make too. So we're not demeaning somebody by allowing them the spiritual adulthood of their own choices and their own search. Having said that, the greater problem is when I say, well, somebody else does that. I don't do that. And so I pass by and I give nothing at all, and I don't find the group that is doing it either. And we allow ourselves off the hook. I'm saying today, you get in it. You get in it yourself. You find your way into that life, and therefore empty your own life a bit, one way or another.
Joan, you're very busy every day practicing the kind of compassion you've described to us, but I want to ask you a personal question. When you reflect on your own life and your own calling as a Benedictine nun, what are those times when you have received the kind of compassion you talk about, that intentional solidarity, that intentional listening, that intentional action as a result?
Well, believe it or not, if you're living in a genuinely good religious community as I am, it's the breath we breathe. I went through polio in a community that carried me for years and still carries the marks of that. Nobody has told me that for some reason or other I'm too great a burden to carry. It's at the point where you know that who you are and who that sister next to you is, together all of us might make one healthy person. Most of all, we are a reminder to one another of what we all need. The nature of community is such that when I fall, someone else picks me up. There's a great old monastic story where a layperson says to the monastic, "What do you do in the monastery?" And the old monastic looks back and says, "Oh, we fall and get up, and we fall and get up, and we fall and we get up again."
How do you apply that kind of compassion to somebody who has hurt you deeply?
Well, in the first place, you have to be concerned, as I said in the end, that someone else maybe can take care of that person better than you can at that point. Your reply is what a good doctor's is: do no harm. You do not return in kind the toxicity of that situation. If you have to withdraw from it, then you withdraw. The important thing is that you do not become in any situation what you hate.
Yeah. You know, I think we can imagine and expect somebody who lives in a loving environment, who's surrounded by compassion, to return compassion in the world. What I'm amazed by is the people who might grow up in a home where they experience very little love and very little compassion, and yet as adults they find their way to be truly compassionate people. Is that where the God piece comes into this?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. I think it's where the growth piece comes in. If indeed this science is correct, and I have no reason to believe it isn't, then it is of our humanity. And if I am going to grow, this is a piece of me that must grow. The people watching this program right now can't say to themselves, "Oh, yeah, compassion, I know, nice stuff. Good marshmallow and a cherry." No, it is of the essence of your humanity.
Your humanity. And Joan, now more than ever before, we need those sensitizing voices like yours that convey what it means to be human in a world bent on self-interest and greed. How do you read the barometer of compassion in a mean-spirited world? 30
Well, in the
seconds.
first place, you know, in the United States, where we are indeed struggling between violence and I would argue basic spirituality, it would seem an imbalance. At the same time, I know no people who are more inclined to support in the midst of their own needs those who have even less. And you see it. If you were with me in our soup kitchen, you'd know this recession has brought about as much compassion as it has pain.